Okay, so good morning everyone, and thank you for coming once again to my cook-alongs. So today it's all about the Victoria sponge, and I'm going to be using a recipe that I've basically been cooking with since I was about 18, and it was my mom's, and I've just converted it to the Thermomix, and I'm actually going to fill it with a really light, very light, yummy buttercream. Of course, you can fill it with fresh cream if you want to, but the buttercream will actually last a little bit longer. So let's get started. But first of all, I did promise, I've had so many people asking me about how do you cook rice in a thermoserver. So most of us have a thermoserver. I'm just going to scroll this down here. So what I've actually got is this is the 2.6 litre thermoserver. And I've actually put in here some boiling water, and that's just going to kind of get the Thermomix up to a hot temperature. So if you ever want to keep food hot in here for like that 2-hour time, you always need to pre-warm your thermoserver. So I'm just going to tip out this water. Okay. Now in my Thermomix, I have actually got the kettle is boiling, so I'm boiling some water in there. And what I've done in my basket, in my basket, I've actually put however much rice I want to cook. I'm going to do a nasi goreng later on, and I've got about 2 cups in there. So I'm just going to sit that in the thermoserver. I have taken this over and washed it, rinsed it out really well, and the basket's great for doing that. Basket's great for doing that because all the water runs out and you can see when all the starches are gone. So I'm just going to sit that in my thermoserver. Then what I want to do is I want to cover this with boiling water. So remember the TM6, you've got that kettle function. So I've just boiled the water and I'm just covering this now with that boiling water. And I want to have a good inch, or I often use that as my basis, a good inch on top of that to that. And I always like to add a pinch of salt to my rice. You don't have to, a pinch of salt to flavour that rice a little bit. And then all I need to do then is to close this up, put this lid on, and move this to the side, and that rice will be cooked in about 15 minutes, 15 to 20 minutes that will be cooked. So if I forget about it, please remind me. So that's going to go to one side and we'll look at that later. That's great because, sometimes we're cooking something in the Thermomix and we want to cook rice as well. So you can do while your dish is actually cooking. All right, so if everyone can just check that they're on mute, that would be great. So now we're going to start off with my Victoria sponge cake. So who loves a good Victoria sponge cake? You can come off mute and tell me. Who's actually made any sponge cakes in the Thermomix?
I have unsuccessfully.
Who's that?
Sue.
Okay, Sue. All right, so hopefully today I'll give you some of my tips and tricks so that you can actually do that comfortably. I make this lot so it does come out really, really well. The other thing I'll just tell you before we start, has anyone ever had any brown marks on the bottom of your bowl that are a bit hard to come out with the TM6 or the TM5? Yeah?
Yes, Colette, I have.
Okay, so if you've got a TM5, what you would need to do is to put in about a tablespoon of bicarbonate of soda, put about 1 litre of water in, and then put it on about 10 minutes at Varoma, speed 1. That's for the TM5. For the TM6, all I do, tablespoon of bicarb, 1 litre of water, and I put the kettle mode on. And then when the kettle comes to boil, I will tip that out, and it just comes off so easy. So a little tip there. Really good. All right, so let's go home. So the first thing we want to do.
Sorry, Colette, did you use eggshells to clean the TM?
On my YouTube channel, I've got that beautiful eggshell and lemon wash, and I do that once a month. And it just brings the bowls right back up to new, sparkling. It conditions the blades beautifully. So that's kind of a once a month. And once a month, I just go through the whole machine and clean it. So I do the eggshell. I will actually tip this on its side, and I will wipe the base of the little black feet, and I'll make sure the underside is clean and the underside of the bench is clean. In these arms here, I will make sure there's no dirt or residue, and then just give it all over a nice wipe, and it just brings it right back up to new. So that's the kind of, I just do it the last day of the month is just a little trigger. That's what I do for my machine. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do then is we're going to crack on with this here, and it's simply a case of putting everything in here in one go for the sponge. So first of all, it's 225 grams is the quantity that I use. So I've got my beautiful homemade butter, but you can use whatever butter. And you want to be using nice butter. You don't want to be using margarine or anything like that, because it's going to affect the taste and also the quality of the cake. So bring up your scales. So we're going to weigh in 225 grams of butter. A little bit more. Perfect. Okay, so 225 grams of butter. And then what we are going to do is we are going to add in 225 grams of caster sugar. You can use raw sugar if you want to. I just love the caster sugar in this one. So tar the scales back, 225 grams for those that are cooking with me. Okay. You can use a little bit less, but remember, don't use too much less, because it is a cake, and cakes are all about goodness and sweetness as well. So 220.
Was that 225 grams of caster sugar?
Yes, it was. So in the bowl, we've got 225 grams of butter and 225 grams of caster sugar. And I'm also now going to put in there 4 eggs.
Colette, does the size of the eggs matter?
Yeah, I always use large eggs. So the 700 gram eggs is the ones that I always buy. And obviously with eggs, you want to get the best quality that you can.
Colette, do they have to be room temperature?
I always, if I'm cooking, so I've had my eggs out for about half an hour, and you just get a nicer lift, but you don't want them out for, actually it's cold at the moment, so it wouldn't really matter. So yeah, I do take them out of the fridge probably about half an hour before I cook with them.
Okay, thank you.
But it doesn't make a huge amount of difference, but a little bit of difference. That makes sense. So you can get away without it. So we've got, what have we got in there? The butter, the eggs, the sugar. Now we need some plain flour. You could sub this for self-raising if you wanted to, but I like to control the lift that I get. So I always like to make my own kind of self-raising. So 225 grams of plain flour. I love that with the Thermomix, you don't have to sift things. A little too much. Awesome. Okay, so 225 grams of plain flour. How's everyone doing? Are you caught up with me? Do I need to slow down?
Nope.
Excellent. All right. Well, you're not cooking easy, so it won't affect you. Okay, so now I need to add my lift in, and I'm adding 2 teaspoons. So if you are making your own self-raising flour, actually I think there are recipes on Cookie Do, but basically it's usually about 1 So 2 teaspoons to every 150 grams of plain flour will give you the equivalent of baking flour.
Is it bike soda?
Pardon?
Is it bicarbonated soda or
Baking powder.
baking powder? Sorry.
Just baking powder.
So 2 teaspoons of baking powder.
Yep. And then the last ingredient is about half a teaspoon of vanilla extract. Now you don't want the artificial stuff, you want something that's going to be nice. So I'm just guesstimating. So about half a teaspoon goes in.
In your cooking experience, Colette, do you, when you cook making a cake, do you put a little bit of salt on the eggs to make a little bit more yellow?
No, I've never done
No?
that.
Yeah, my grandmother always used to do that.
Ah,
Don't know why.
that sounds interesting. Okay. I was at a cooking experience yesterday. It was a wonderful cooking experience. Beautiful people. We had a lot of fun. And there was a guy there who was vegetarian. And I was talking to him about the choice that we have on Thermomix, you know, being a vegetarian. And I was saying to him about the sous vide function the TM6 has. And I was saying, everyone keeps telling me I have to try the scrambled eggs in the sous vide, which takes, I think, about an hour and a half. And I said to him, I can't get my head round spending that much time cooking scrambled eggs, because I do quite nice scrambled eggs anyhow. And he said, no, you've got to try it. So that's on my list to do this week. I'm actually going to finally try the sous vide scrambled eggs. Has anyone tried them?
No.
No. I will let you know how I go on my Facebook page. So I'll let you know whether it's actually worth the amount of time. So just to recap, in the bowl, I've got 4 eggs, 225 grams of butter, 225 grams of caster sugar, 225 grams of plain flour, about half a teaspoon of vanilla extract, and 2 teaspoons of baking powder. Okay, so the lid goes on. And now what we're going to do is mix all that together nicely. So we want to go for about 30 seconds at speed 5. We should do it. 30 seconds. Now what we want to do, as we always do, is we want to break down the sides. I'll just show you what we've actually got. Can you see that? So it's a lovely mix. Oh, just a little tad grainy. We want it to be smoother. So I'm just going to mix down the sides with my favorite spatula.
Oh, it's so good.
Yeah, they're so good.
I just got it, and oh my God, that's really good too.
It is. I love it. I have a nice collection of them. One is never enough, I think. So let's scrape down. Okay. And then we're going to pop it back on, and we're going to do about 25 seconds at speed 5 for the second and final.
Sorry, I didn't hear that. 25 seconds.
25 seconds at speed 5.
Thank you.
Colette, have you put on your oven yet?
I can't hear because this is going to be loud. Okay. Now I can hear you. Sorry?
Sorry, didn't hear that. Have you preheated your oven?
180 degrees. If you pop your oven on at 180 degrees, I forgot to tell you. So I'll just show you now how beautiful this mixture looks.
Oh, yum.
How hard was that? It literally took a couple of minutes. really hardly any time at all.
Oh,
So
quick.
now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to grease. Now, I like with my recipe to use a 20 centimeter tin, and I forgot that I lent mine to my son. So I'm going to put these into a 23, which will mean it's not going to spread out as much as I would like. So, and I like the size of the 20 centimeters because it gives it that bit of height and it just makes it look more attractive. So I'm just going to butter. These are non-stick. So all I'm going to do is a tiny bit of butter, and I'm just going to put, you've seen me do this before, a little bit in the middle, and then I'm just going to use the pre-cut parchment roll. So these come in 20 centimeters and 23 centimeters. I love them. They're very inexpensive to buy. They're all done. So basically, that's what they look like. So all I have to do is pop it into my tin, okay, and then pop these around. That's it. It's lined. I don't need to do the sides because this is non-stick, as I said. It will enable me to get it out really, really easily. I think they're about $5 or something like that for. Has anybody bought them?
No, not yet.
Price? No, I can't remember. They're really cheap, but there's. I don't even know how many you get. You get lots. Anyhow, pretty cool.
Kim, you're making noises.
Pardon?
Kim is
Oh, yes.
making noises.
Can you make sure that if you've got background noise there that you're muting yourself? Thank you. And then to come off mute, I think most of you know, then just to press the mute and then have a chat with me, which I love. I love it when you chat with me. Okay, so that's good. So all we now need to do is to divide this mixture between the two tins. Roughly the same amount. As I said, my tins are a bit bigger than I would normally like to use. Okay.
Colette, the cake tin liners are $7.95.
Oh, thanks, Margaret. Yeah, it just saves a lot of hassle. The other thing you can do, if you have greaseproof paper, this is so good. Absolutely yummy. So I just want to, I have to just show you.
The alarm going off is for the rice, 15 minutes.
15 minutes already?
It's 11:23.
It's okay, we'll let it go for a bit longer.
Ah, you are jam, Margaret.
Okay, I just want to show you a little, you've probably all seen this. So if you don't have those little shaped things, what you can do is you take a bit of greaseproof paper, roughly guesstimate where you need to cut it. And what you do is you basically fold it in half, and you just keep folding it. Doesn't matter which way, just keep folding it and folding it. Okay, so you've got a shape like that. You just keep, doesn't matter which way, you just keep folding it in half. And where's my lovely scissors gone? So these are just any pair of scissors, but I love the Thermomix ones, and these obviously are that purchase with gift this month. But what you then do is you just take that and you guesstimate where the halfway mark is, and then you chop that off. Okay, and then what you have is you have a nice circle.
Thank you.
So nice, easy way to do that. And where you cut it off, always go a little bit shorter because it's amazing how it All right, so all I'm going to do now is to spread these out a little bit. As I said, my tins are a bit big, so just spread them out in your tin. They will rise and they will go to the edge, but you'll get that higher rise if you have a proper size tin. Okay, so that's all I'm doing. And the same with the other one. Look, I've still got stuff in there. and I want to use that. So what I'm going to do is pop that back on, pop my lid on, and I'm going to go for about, what, 10 seconds? Oh no, probably 5 seconds is enough. 5 seconds at speed 10. And that will flick everything off the blade. So you can see now it's easy for me. The blades are clear. All I have to do is scrape the sides of the bowl, and I'll get another
Good idea.
another big spoonful of that out. Stick that on that one. So about 5 seconds on speed 10 will clear that blade for you beautifully. So you get a little bit more mix. So I'm not being too fussy about how I'm popping this out. I'm happy with these two just as they are. I use my finger to get the rest of that down because I am a bit short. Okay. Has anyone tasted it? Tastes yum.
We trust you.
Okay. So then you want to pop those into the oven, and they'll go in normally about the 20-minute mark, 20 to 25 minutes, depending on the size of tin. So I'm going to put these in for about 20 minutes, and then I'm going to check on them. And I always give my tins a quick, just any air bubbles can come up. So wash that bowl out.
What was the temperature of the oven again?
180.
180, thank you.
So I'll just give everyone a few minutes to wash their bowls out. I'll just put mine on the. So the TM6, of course, we have that wonderful pre-wash function. So all I need to do is flick it across, hit pre-clean, turn the dial, and that cleaned it virtually for me. Okay. So what's everyone been cooking this week while that's happening?
Orange cake, ginger, bickies.
Oh, you got such a sweet tooth, Izzy.
Not
Tony, what
me.
about you? What have you been
My
cooking?
husband.
I haven't been cooking anything much this week. Boiling eggs, making butter. Yeah, it's been a quiet one. I was trying to do diet last week. Diet stuff, so I've been trying to stay away from cooking a little.
Oh, I know. Don't forget, there's cookbooks on under 500 calorie meals. There's cookbooks on keto, low carb, all that kind of stuff, which is really cool. Yeah.
Really? Oh.
I did make the keto bread rolls, the grain-free bread rolls last week, but I didn't make them in bread rolls. I put them between what do you call it, baking paper, and put it in the sandwich press to make flat bread.
The flatbreads are great in the Thermomix. Absolutely lovely. Oh, so Donna, lime curd. The curds are amazing in the Thermomix. They're so fantastic. And yeah, the Edna's lemon cake is an absolute winner. Izzy, you would love that one. Edna's, I think you made it, didn't you?
No, I've got my own recipe.
Ah.
I don't know how to convert it to the Thermomix, but no, there's lots of kneading.
Oh, it's so cool in the Thermomix, absolutely.
Yeah, we'll put it together and you can show me how to do it then.
Yeah.
I made the Japanese katsu chicken curry last night. That was pretty good.
That's a favourite of
Very
yours.
mild, though.
Yeah, it's a favourite of yours. To be honest, it's not one of my favourite curries. I love the Indian curries with those intense flavours. That's my favourite kind of thing here.
Colette, I tried the soft cinnamon rolls and they didn't rise. They tasted okay, but I don't think they turned out how they're supposed to.
Sorry?
I said I tried the soft cinnamon buns or rolls and they didn't rise though. So, and I'm not even sure whether the dough was completely cooked on the inside, if you know what I mean, because you do the scroll part.
Yeah, maybe I need to do some scrolls. I've got quite a few tips and techniques on that. It's really important to make sure your baking powder is in date.
Well, it was actually using yeast.
Oh, okay.
Maybe it wasn't because that yeast had been there for a while, but they were in sealed little packets.
Yeah, they should be. Yeah, not sure. Don't know. And I guess it depends on the recipes. I've made quite a few. So your sponge cake today is going to come out perfectly. So look, that's my bowl with the pre-clean done. So you can see all I need to do is rinse it and dry that out. LJ, what have you been cooking this week? Oh, you're on mute.
There we go. I haven't been cooking much at all. I've just been doing bought soups. I only have one meal a day this last week because I've been on holidays.
Have you been? That's why you've got the sunshine and sea behind you.
Yeah, I'm supposed to be in Cancun. Is it a good likeness?
Oh, very good. Yes, I can see that. But where's the bikini?
Yeah, well, Hamilton's still a little bit cool for the bikini.
Yes, I think so. Actually, it has been pretty cool, hasn't it? But today, actually, it looks lovely. I'm going to take Maxie to the dog park soon. All right, so I'm going to pop these down here. And we're going to crack on now with our buttercream. So, is everyone ready to continue? That's cooking? Yep. Cool. All right, let's get going again. So, now the
Did you want to look
buttercream-
at the rice?
Oh, thank you. I should really look at that right. Yeah, and it doesn't matter if you go a bit longer. It really doesn't matter. Looks beautiful. So you can see. So basically, if I just tip that up, can you see how lovely and fluffy that rice is now?
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So that's beautiful. And then all I will need to do. So somebody mentioned, can you do it in your little thermal server? You can, but you're going to have extra water in the bottom. So you're just going to have to drain it. So you just tip it into a colander or something like that. And then you have to drain that off. So all I will do is connect this into my basket. And then I will just drain that off. You can just hold it. Oh, if you don't move it, hold it like that to actually drain it off. And then you'll have that beautiful rice, which is going to be lovely. So you can certainly cook your rice. And it does take a little bit longer with different types of rice. So just judge it. But what you mustn't do for those first 15 minutes on any of the rices is take the lid off. Once you take the lid off, you're letting all that warmth actually disappear. And when you cook pasta, pasta is exactly the same. So you'll heat your bowl, you'll put your pasta, your shaped pasta penne or whatever you want in here, and then you'll pour on hot water, a bit of salt, put the lid on, and then pop that to one side. Do you know why we don't add, does anybody here add olive oil to their pasta water? Yep.
Usually to rice.
Yeah, you can. Yeah, it's quite nice with rice. According to the experts, the beautiful Italians, we don't add olive oil because it doesn't make the pasta sauce stick to the spaghetti as much. So I just now add salt when I'm doing my pastas, which is cool. All right.
Okay,
So let's. Yes.
Just before you get started, does it matter what quantities of rice you're doing?
It doesn't matter at all. It doesn't matter as long as you've got about an inch more of water above the top of the rice.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. So, you know, just go for that 15, 20 minutes, probably go 20 minutes, I reckon, but don't take the lid off. And then once you take the lid off, if you need to redo, you know, go a bit further and then just wham it back on and just. All right, so with the buttercream, this is a really lovely, light, fluffy kind of buttercream. And I always go by the formula. I use half the amount of butter to icing sugar. So you can put whatever quantities you want in. Today, we're going to be using 150 grams of butter. Okay, so I'm popping that in here. Yep, I can do that. 150 grams of butter are going in. And then what I'm
Excuse me,
going to do-
Colette, if I just want to put fresh cream in mine later, I just whip the cream and put it in like normal?
Yeah, yep,
Cool.
absolutely.
We're
You can
getting into
absolutely do
tonight,
that.
So I'm using fresh cream.
Nice, yeah, fresh cream is beautiful. So the butter's gone in, but keep this one as it's great for decorating your cakes and stuff. It's just a beautiful buttercream. So 150 grams of butter, and I'm going to again go for about 30 seconds at speed 4. So 30 seconds, speed 4. And that's just going to kind of make it even softer and just whip it all up together. You all know you can just tap the screen to keep it quiet. All right, so just to show you there, my butter kind of whipped up the first stage. And then I'm just going to scrape down the bowl. All right, and then I'm going to put in the butterfly. Okay, so the butterfly is going in. So it's sitting on top, and then I'm going to give it a turn towards the blade. All right, so that's in there, ready to rock and roll. So who can tell me what speed the butterfly can go up to?
4 and no more.
Absolutely, I saw the fingers. God, you guys are so good. Awesome. Speed 4 and no more. All right. Now what we're going to do, we're going to go for about 3 minutes at speed 3.5. But what I'm going to do during that time is I'm going to take off my measuring cup and I am going to feed through the icing sugar. And I'm
Colette, sorry, I'm a bit behind. I've only just done the butter. So after the butter, what happens?
Scrape it down.
Yep.
And then pop that back on.
Right.
And then what we're doing is we're going to in a second, not now. We're going to put it on for about 3 minutes at speed 3.5. So the butterfly's gone in. You got the butterfly in?
Just about.
Excellent.
Okay.
Okay.
Butterfly in.
All right. Then what we're going to do is we're going to add in our icing sugar, and the icing sugar is twice as much as the butter, so 300 grams of icing sugar is what I'm going to add in. And I'm going to do that slowly through the hole. And I also want you to go to your fridge and take out some milk. Milk, you could use a splash of water. We only need a splash, and this is kind of what adds to that fluffiness. So what I'm going to do is put a bowl on your lid. I think this will be easier for everyone. Put a bowl on your lid. I do it slightly separately, but we've got TM5s and 31s here. So I'm going to weigh in. Bring up the scales and weigh in your 300 grams of icing sugar.
Wow, that's a problem.
Can everyone mute again, please?
Oh, she's bossy, isn't she? So 300 grams. And I'm just using the pure icing sugar. The icing sugar mixture has like cornstarch that added into it. Okay.
So Colette, do you prefer the pure icing sugar over the icing sugar mixture?
I do, yeah. It's just pure cane sugar. There's nothing added. The taste, I think, is nicer, but of course the difference is that it's all nice and soft. But all you need to do, whenever I get a packet of pure icing sugar, it's rock solid, it's really solid. And what I will often do if I'm actually using a new pack, I'll just dump the whole lot in and go at speed 10 for about 10 seconds, and it becomes a soft and fluffy. It's really easy just to get it to that stage. Of course, you can use your own ground down icing sugar, but when you're creating your icing sugar for baking, you want to get your raw sugar milled for about a minute and a half. Otherwise, it's not going to be fine enough. Okay. All right. So you know, there is an easier way where I didn't have to weigh that on top, but I just think for today it might be easier for us to do that. So we're going to go back, and what we're going to do is we're going to go at what did I say, about 3 minutes, about 3 minutes, wasn't it? Because we want that to be incorporated. 3 minutes at speed 3.5, because we've got the butterfly in. And then I'm going to add in
No, I don't want to reverse on.
very nice. And then towards the end of the time, so I've still got a minute and 20 seconds to go. So at about the can't you hear me? Can you hear me okay? No? Yep, okay. I'm going to add in, at about 30 seconds to go, a tablespoon of milk.
Colette, I just had a problem with my Thermomix. It kept reverting to reverse mode.
Pardon?
It just kept going reverse enabled and then reverse disabled and then reverse enabled. It just sort of fluttered between the two. Do you know why?
Hang on, this is a bit loud for me here. It's nearly finished.
Okay.
Sorry, Kim?
Yeah, I just had a problem with the Thermomix because it just kept fluttering between reverse enabled and reverse disabled.
Okay, well just switch it off, switch it on again.
Yeah.
And try that.
All right.
You could have a drop of water on the button as well.
Yeah,
on the screen.
True. Yeah.
Okay, that's possible. Okay,
Yeah.
how long do you have the milk in for?
Oh, about 30 seconds. So maybe about half a teaspoon, I think, will be fine. Half a tablespoon, something like that. Just a little dash. So don't forget to check your cakes, okay? the little skewer trick, pop it in. If it comes out nice and free with no marks, it's done. So this one is done. I'll put that to the side. All right, so let's have a look at the buttercream so far. You see how beautiful that is? It really is yummy. So fluffy. Really nice. So now what I'm going to do, scrape it down, remove the whisk. Then just scrape all this lovely buttercream down. And I'm just going to toss through this some strawberries. Of course, you could add a tablespoon of cocoa or something like that if you wanted a nice chocolate one. So I've got probably about 150 grams of strawberries that I chopped up, and that's just going in. I like them actually tossed through the buttercream rather than sitting on top. And then that's going to go back on. How's everyone doing? Are you keeping up with me? Yeah, okay. So now all I want to do is to stir that through for probably about 30 seconds. So we want it on reverse. Remember, we want it on reverse. So I'm going to go for about 30 seconds. Reverse and stir speed. So just stirring that through. Okay, let me clear some of this away. So that now is all been stirred through and it looks just beautiful. Yum. All right. So what I've actually done, I pre-made these two this morning. So these are nice and cold. And one of the things I just want to show you is that I always, when I put them onto the rack, I put them top down on the rack, and that will help to flatten that cake up much more nicely. And then you're going to get, oh, this one's got a bit here, but that's okay, that can go on the bottom. All right, so let it go nice and cold. So you won't be able to do this with your cake just now because it's got to be absolutely cold. So all I am going to do is I'm going to grab my, so this is my cake server, and it's also kind of combines as a decorator. And what I like to do is just to put a little bit of that icing down on the middle. Okay.
Colette, have you taken the other cakes out?
Yes, I have.
Okay.
Yes, remember I showed everyone. Yep. So remember that little skewer trick just to make sure that it's all done nicely. So this one here, that one that was a bit messy, I'm going to pop that on my little tray. This actually is a mix shop item as well. And I just love it because it's easy to serve with, but I can also decorate with it too. So that's going to go down. So the first thing I want to do is I'm going to spread this base with some strawberry jam. So nice quality strawberry jam is just going on here. Can you see that nice and clearly? Yeah. Oh, this is going to be so gorgeous.
Very much with a little bit of water first before you put jam on it.
You can do, but this one is spreading nicely. Okay, so that's beautiful. And then I'm also going to spread a little bit of jam on my other piece. So that's going to be the bottom. So you want about 150 grams worth of jam. It'll be generous because it's going to add flavor. And of course, if you didn't want strawberries, you could actually use raspberries. Raspberries are beautiful in this. So now that we've done that, we're going to add in our beautiful buttercream mixture. Okay, and when you're popping it down, you want to kind of pop it all over. So not a big dollop in the middle, and it just helps you to spread. Okay. And this buttercream will go a little bit harder once it's actually left. It's just lovely. There's plenty there. Okay. That up. Okay, and I need my palette knife if I can find it. So a knife or a palette knife or something like that, and you're just going to just put that all around. You can see why I like the little turntable thing. It just helps me to. Now, when you put the top on, be aware it's going to spread out even more. So, and it doesn't matter if it drips down the side, it's going to make it look nice and wholesome. So that buttercream has got that beautiful strawberry taste going through it, which is really yummy. So then all I need to do is to pick up my top, pop that on, okay, and then just look after any bits that might start to dribble out. Looks pretty good actually. Yeah. Okay, nearly finished. So then what I need to do is to simply get some icing sugar and dredge it. So that's going to go all over. Make it look beautiful. Okay, just clear up my nice tray. Love this tray. And then what I want to do is just to finish that off. I'm going to put 3 nice little strawberries here in the middle, and to keep them positioned, just another little sprinkling of buttercream. All I need is a little bit, and that's just going to help them sit there and behave themselves. So yummy. Okay, so we're just going to arrange some nice strawberries on top. Decoration. So there's our lovely Victoria sponge, and that will, as I said, that buttercream will firm up nicely, and then that will be ready for me to have my tea today. Do you want to come off mute and see if you've got any questions? Who's going to make it? You're going to give it a go? Super easy. I mean, the Victoria sponge was so quick. With the fresh cream in there, it's going to be absolutely beautiful, absolutely beautiful. And whenever you do fresh cream, always add a couple of tablespoons. So I put the cream in, a couple of tablespoons of icing sugar and a teaspoon of vanilla extract. And what it does, it takes away the plainness of the cream. It's called chantilly cream. Just add those all together, and it's just beautiful. Yep, I will actually make sure that we will post this video. I'll do that later on today on our page, so you'll have that, and I'll put the recipe up there. No, can I get you all actually to pop your name in the chat? That way I can email you the recipe, because not everyone who's registered comes on. So that will be good. You want the recipe? Give me your email. And I'm just going to stop recording now.
Colette,